Hello, Igor Beuker.
Yes, weird name, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. It's actually yours. So it's whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, nobody can pronounce it
in
the world. No.
Well, thank you for being our guest at the Original Conversations. I'm really grateful that we've spent a few hours together talking about life and all the messages we want to send across through our platforms. I wanted to ask you a little bit about your start in life. What made you who you are today?
Okay. Oh, that's a tough one from the start.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's very important, which you mostly discover later in life. I didn't know at that moment. I had a pretty rough start. I come from a divorced parents' family. I didn't have a nice youth or upbringing, more than really poor. And I think that my grandparents threw me their lifeline when I was 12. So I started to live with my grandparents and old school people with a lot of norms and ethics, beautiful people. And I can say that they saved my life. So to be very bold, if it wasn't there for them, I would not have been sitting here, I think.
And you consider yourself an old soul, old school?
Yeah. Talk to my children. They call me dinosaur. But I grabbed all the opportunity that I got from them, and it shaped really who I am. That is what I know now, of course. I'm 48. I was kicked out of professional football and already expelled from college. So I was basically 24. And
that was in Netherlands?
Yeah. I played in Switzerland and I was a very good football player. But
and what happened?
No, I think due to my youth, my mentality was not okay enough. If a trainer said to me, well, if you don't do this and this and this, I would say, well, what?
So you have a very rebellious nature.
You can say that. Now, when I get old, I get more mature, and now I have children, I'm more responsible. But I'm a rebel at heart, yes.
And were you a team player back in the day?
Yeah, really. Yeah, I was the captain of the team way back, because my mentality, I think that's also curiosity helped me a lot in life, and my sports-driven mentality. I have a mentality that is, well, I think you are aware what it means sometimes. You live with the pro. I can train 100 hours a week, and I can really go into a trainees camp, and I have the dedication to leave everything behind if I really want to achieve something.
How old were you when that happened?
When I was kicked out of football?
Yes.
I think 23, 24. And I was nothing. I was broken. It was my dream, my passion. It was my income. It was my everything. So,
well, like every 23-year-old, they feel like they've reached the stars until you take off the carpet out of their...
Yeah, and to be honest, there was not much carpet left with me because I had no education, because I was the guy that said, well, I'm going to be a professional player. I was a professional player.
And so your dreams were... completely fallen apart.
Yeah,
and then
no education. So
why no education?
Well, because I was a professional football player who needed education anyway. So I thought, well, no, school. I'm going to be top of the world in the football player. I will make so much money, and I don't need school anyway.
So what did you do?
Go back to the drawing board. And I thought, well, what now? And most football players that have failed in early life, they don't end up well. The stardom and the richdom, I lost everything, even my identity. I fell in love with marketing and the internet, and that basically gave me a second chance opportunity, for which I was really grateful. And that became a new passion in my life. And I owe a lot to my idea that the internet was going to revolutionize the world. People say, "Oh, you're an idiot. It's the trend, the hype. It will go away again." I knew for sure that this was going to shake up the world.
But so you started working for somebody?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I started to work for you either go into gambling if you're an ex-professional football player, or you go into marketing. I ended up in sports marketing, fell in love with marketing. I studied my ass off. I learned 4, 5, 6, 7 hours a day. I loved it.
But that's like your own education rather than the formal one. You didn't go back to school?
Yeah, also at night.
You went?
Yeah, I went working full-time for a big listed company. I studied marketing, the traditional old school marketing. Not very useful in my life, I have to say. No, it's useful as a basis, but the world changed.
What did you build from that base then on? What was the experience you gained working for that listed company? What is the name of the company?
I first started working for Scoot. It was a sort of a competition of the Yellow Pages and Google, very advanced company. So they were really looking for people that had a vision on the future, not so much skills, because nobody had the internet skills at that moment. It was new to everybody in the world. So you start with equal odds, I think. And I worked 10 years as a chief marketing officer for big listed companies. So I really...
When did you become the chief officer, marketing officer?
I think when I was 28 or 29.
That's quite early.
Yeah, that's very early. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like it that much. I didn't like. No, I didn't like the corporate world that much because it was all very traditional, advertising, TV driven, and there was this weird guy running around. He said the internet is more important. It can build our brand. We can build communities. We can build loyalty. We can tailor content and personalize it. And I thought, well, what an idiot. We just do TV commercials. What is this guy about?
Well, back in the day, I can imagine that was quite a futuristic thinking. Because the internet just started back then, right?
Yeah, it was just there. And I had a very... I was responsible with a Swedish-Finnish company, a huge firm at that moment, Telia Sonera. And they gave me the chief marketing officer role very early. I was very grateful. But I also said to the board, I've still had a pro mentality. You either kick me out if I fail, if I don't make my results. They said, why we just hire you? I said, yeah, but I want to be very clear. I'm going to do this for 2 years. This is what I would like to achieve with the budget that we have. But we're going to make it a whole new ball game.
So how did you, from the boy of broken dreams, basically at the age of 23, get to the chief officer, marketing officer role, knowing exactly what you want?
Yeah.
What was in between that shaped you so much?
I think... Even prior to that, I think sports and my grandparents. My grandparents, my grandma, for example. Was
what kind of relationship you had with them? What were the lessons you learned from them?
The most important lessons were ethics. That's why I feel terrible now what I see in the world. We'll get to that later, I think. A dreamer or a winner is a dreamer who never quits. My grandma always said, Igor, don't complain. Start doing it and be a good man. But if you really want it, don't talk about it. Just do it. And losers have excuses. You always say blah, 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 blah. You talk a lot. Now get back to work. If you want to achieve something, do it. So that really shaped...
Were they helping you to question things? Did they ask?
Yeah.
Because the old school is usually do as you're told, right?
Difficult, because I was, of course, 12, 14, 15. I was in puberty. I was like every kid at that age. Difficult. I was a hooligan already. and then these old school people were telling me stuff, but I respected them a lot. I asked a few things that really is important for the rest of my life. The power of media and ethics of people.
You've mentioned once that actually they showed you the old newspapers.
Yeah.
You can share that.
Yeah,
story,
of course.
Yes.
My grandparents had a bunch of newspapers. Some were stored really safe. And if I came near to it, they said, no, you don't understand that yet. Curious as I am, I asked, well, what is it? I want to know. It's the newspaper that your granddad and my grandmother, we brought it around in World War II against the Germans. It was an illegal newspaper. I still read that newspaper today. It's in Amsterdam. It's still a local newspaper which still exists. So for me, that's very special. And I asked them, what did you do? Why did you bring around a newspaper? You could get killed on the spot. Why would you do that? So they taught me about the ethics and right and wrong, and that people should stand up if something is going on, like in that time, the war or Hitler. And two, I said, but how did he get so many people mobilized to fight a war? And my grandparents explained me the power of media and propaganda. So from that moment, I think I was 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. I listened to the story, but I think it shaped me for life. So ethics and
subconsciously at first, and
yeah,
then
I think so.
Kind of
yeah,
kicked
also
in
the
later
power
on.
of media, and also the responsibility that comes with media and propaganda, which you now still, of course, see in the world of today.
Is it today the power being abused?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Misused?
Yeah, not only today. It has been abused since the printing press, I think. Since we have powerful mass media, always oppressors or people have been trying to use the media to influence people's brains. That's why I'm so skeptic about media, journalism. because I see the role and the responsibility differently, of course. And maybe also the way of how education will help people to think through what they read and think for themselves. That's, to me, really important.
What are the good examples today that you find? Because I know you criticize a lot of what's happening, and I'd like to know, what are the good examples?
Well, one of my drivers, I think, is that I didn't plan to become an independent writer or speaker. It was never part of the plan. I didn't want to be on stage. I hated speaking.
Well, you're very good at it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe because I have a mission or a purpose. And on stage is like a fish in the water, a warm tropical sea. It's like walking towards my purpose. And that is to inspire people that we can really use technology to build a greater, better, cleaner planet. And I really, really, really believe that. So that's why I love to be on stage. I really believe that. And I speak about a lot of topics everywhere around the world, marketing, innovation. But if you would ask me what gets you up at night, it's that we can cure diseases. We can still change the environment with technology. We can enhance education. I think that technology is really, really...
So your message is like the power of collective rather than the power of one.
That's why I sometimes, they ask me sometimes about my political opinions, and that's what I'm willing to say about, for example, Trump. I don't like the way, as a role model, I won't even talk about politics. I think, I believe in the power of Nelson Mandela, I believe in the power of Malala Yousafzai, great leaders that are willing to die for their cause. They are, for me, super role models for our children. Authentic and real and truth with a good cause. And I think that are very important things. And in politics, it's also the tone of voice is important. And I think that sometimes people do tend to forget that, what it's all about. Really, this life, how are we becoming better and happier? And I think that technology can help us with that. And take electrical cars, take saving the planet.
Entrepreneurship or versus corporations?
Ooh.
What do you vote for?
Yeah, well, of course, entrepreneurship. All my talks are around madman versus madman.
Tell me more about it.
Yeah, I've been in the corporate world for so long, 25 years. I call it corporate bullshit.
Pardon my language.
Yeah, of course. I will try to explain that more nicely. I have worked with it has a history. I've been in big corporations myself as a chief marketing officer.
Can you just name the corporations you worked for?
Yeah, it's Scoot, Telia, Sonera, and Telefonica O2. So big brands. Mm-hmm. I was 38 when Sir Martin Sorrell knocked on our door, the founder of the WPP Group M, the biggest media advertising communications platform on the planet. I said yes, I learned a lot from him. I saw many big brands from the inside, even bigger global brands from the inside.
So when you worked for him, did you work one-on-one with him?
Often, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but of course, he's too busy to be dedicated to someone.
What? But still, if he takes time to...
No, he's a very smart guy. He's the admin on the planet. He built that network by himself in 33 years' time to the biggest platform on the planet. So he's a superb entrepreneur who was recently 6 months ago kicked out by the shareholders out of his own network, which I find horrible and disgusting. But
what does that tell you?
Well, that money rules the world. People, planet, profit. Sometimes it's profit, planet, people. The good thing though is...
Well, we could see it in many companies like that. I mean, even Steve Jobs was kicked out.
Yeah, but that's basically the same. The cooler thing, why Sir Martin Sorrell is in a way cooler than Steve Jobs. He is 73 now. It happened 6 months ago. He's such a super entrepreneur, so powerful and driven, that instead of going on a pension and a long, well-deserved holiday, he went into the market. He's Sir Martin Sorrell, so his name is also royal now. And he raised 500 million more and started a new network. And he acquired a Dutch company for 300 million, Media Monks. So this guy is 73 and he starts a new WPP. Well,
but you would never go that route. You would never work for a corporation anymore, right?
Well,
in the corporation? Let me rephrase it.
No. I try to help them. I try to, but the question you asked was, why would you choose entrepreneurial above
Yes.
corporations?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of big brands, really big, powerful brands, crumble, fall down, go bankrupt, and a lot of people say, yeah, digital transformation and this and that, and no, it's arrogance, laziness. And big is only good when big is smart. And I've met so many big brands that are completely addicted.
Big is only good
when big
is smart.
Otherwise, it's slow, fat, and lazy and arrogant.
That's a tweetable moment.
Yeah, you think so? Oh no,
Completely.
No, but I see a lot of brands that are just arrogant, and they say Airbnb is nothing. It's unprofessionalism, and Google or Facebook, who cares? And Jeff Bezos is an idiot. No. There is something big going on in the world, and the big corporations for 60 years, madmen, have become very successful, solely relied on advertising, which is now becoming a dangerous addiction. You cannot become a big company in the new world with only advertising. Simply doesn't work. People don't believe you anymore. If you have
because they can tune out. They don't have to listen anymore like before.
Yeah, also, but they don't believe it anymore because we have been lying for too long. And if advertising was, of course, I call it lipstick on a pig. You can have a beautiful, nice little pig. You can schmook it up with lipstick and dress. It's still a pig. And that's what people know. And with social media, it's power to the people. So if you have a little local restaurant here in Belgrade and it's nice, people will tell each other, go there. The service is nice. The food is great.
So the word of mouth is more powerful than any
now
other
with social
tool.
media, yeah, it's the biggest, the amplification and the power of that. If you have let's say, a restaurant with 44 two-star reviews because the food sucks and the service is shitty, people will say to you, no, man, I saw the commercial and the campaign. It's a nice restaurant. And if you then go to the internet and see the reviews, you will never go there. So advertising no longer is the powerful thing for any brand.
But isn't that misused? Because you now can buy, as a competitor, you can buy that and you can send people to put down your reviews. It's very tricky now.
Yeah, especially for
to
the
know
younger
what's
generation.
Honest.
Yeah. Well, the president of the US is lying a lot, so that is the role model for the world. Fake it till you make it. Mark Zuckerberg is lying all the time, but he says sorry 8 times. He steals and cheats, and he takes your data, and he sells it to political leaders that are pretty shady or addicted. And then he says sorry, and we say okay, and we're all still on Facebook. So I don't know who's crazy. I think I am. But yeah, what you're mentioning is, of course, referring to the social influencers. People who have
we had a nice chat about it.
People who have never, not all of them. Some are very nice and cool, and they make funky content that the TV network should have done way back. Of course, I was there part of the madman in Cannes, where the big TV networks and the big ad agency CEO said, Igor, you're crazy. YouTube videos, cat videos. No, man, that's just a hype. No, that's new consumers who are not couch potatoes willing to sit and to listen to your bullshit programs. But yeah, they are sort of in control. It was controlled media. And now the internet is an uncontrolled medium where everybody can have a voice. The difficulty, though, is in the world of influencers, that there is also people that have a very nice or good-looking body and a nice bikini, and they go on Instagram and they earn a lot of likes, and now they're influencers, and now the big brands are throwing money at them. Advertising 2.0, again, addicted to advertising. We are buying and bribing for likes.
There is another trend that I've noticed. It's like being very sarcastic or ironic, and tweeting or sending messages that are funny or that are mocking people.
Yeah.
That's also a very big hit. And they are somehow unknown people that are influencers, like the accounts that have like huge following.
Yeah. Now, I make a few, I distinct. I had a social media agency. I sold it in 2008. Mm-hmm. I still worked for it for a few more years. I was done with it because of the things that you are also explaining. Big brands, Coca-Cola, we are bigger than Pepsi. Mine is bigger than yours. Wow, how cool. We have more fans than you have. Wow. I look at key opinion leaders. Do the people really have a track record? Are they trustworthy? Have they achieved anything? if it's a nice-looking boy or girl, I can see that he's fit or an athlete. Doesn't make him very influential yet. They have a lot of fans. If I would run around naked in Belgrade, I will have a lot of fans and followers too. Does it make me?
You're very confident.
No. I mean, because look at that idiot. Does it make me an influencer? No, not really. I influence nobody. But I have a lot of fans and followers.
So who are influencers today then? What's that term standing for?
No, but I think influencer in the name, it derives from the 70s, 60s, where the Wedgwood porcelain company did their first brand celebrity endorsement campaigns. Later, of course, it became the athletes, and then in the 1960s, television came, so the television people became famous. Now we have Kim Kardashian and other people, Kylie Jenner.
But you've noticed, and we've talked about it actually also in sports, but in terms of the family Kardashians, they actually built their businesses based on the being famous, just being famous. And how do they call them? They're famous for being famous? Or?
Yeah, they are. She made 45 million last year with an online store. So that's doing, her husband Kanye is shouting to 50 million people that Trump is the greatest president ever. So
yes?
I hope he's not that influential, but I happen to know a Chinese girl. She's 23. She made 46 million last year in being a social influencer or with a web shop. Now the thing is, I hope people that understand that, you probably will. Not everybody that plays tennis is a Novak Djokovic. Not everybody that plays football like me. I wanted to be a Cristiano Ronaldo, but I was not. And I think people should realize, also my children, I tell them, not everybody can be Kylie Jenner or Kim Kardashian. I know you all want it to be, but try to focus at another career as well. Like
so try to be authentic you rather than...
No, but also, because my grandparents always told me, Igor, your football career is very nice, but newsflash, if you break your knee tomorrow, it's over. So what will you do then next?
What's your plan B?
Yeah, nobody has a plan B that is really only solely focused and becoming the next influencer. And for me, I have the power to be disliked. I don't want many followers. It's nice if people want me for who I am. But I think Nelson Mandela is a great leader. Did he have a lot of followers? No. So can people
Towards the end of life, yes.
Yeah, of course, still. And Malala has a huge following. But because she's Malala, because she has a purpose, and because she was willing to give her life for the power of women and education. But maybe that's the message
people follow, that they connect with. The purpose, having the strong purpose is what drives people towards you.
I wish that was the case. But for a lot of people in social media influencers and all the brands jumping on the bandwagon, showing money do you have a huge following? Can you promote my brand? That's mostly girls and boys with a good-looking body in a bikini on Instagram. Not people with a purpose that will be willing to save lives.
So people don't really know what the purpose means rather than...
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe logic.
So how would you...
They're too young to know, I think. If you're 14 years old.
But they are served through the internet and the power of social media, a lot of power.
I don't know, yeah, depending on
how... you become millionaire at 21.
Yeah, but
today with the technology and innovation.
Yeah, but that's only 3 influencers we know. Kim Kardashian, Kylie Jenner and the Chinese girl. That doesn't necessarily mean that all other 6 billion people on this planet will become influencers. Reality check.
You know, it's interesting that you say that, because I had an experience just a few months ago where I just didn't know how people live today because of the social media. But for instance, the YouTube has huge power, and people are actually renting fake houses and apartments just so they can act out their stories, you know, so they can still have a different life. And
fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. So you would assume that is that the right path to go to? Like, for instance, how do entrepreneurs share their message and become powerful?
No, I think there is
with the tools they have.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we talked about it before a little. I don't have the wisdom. I'm not judgmental. I am sometimes, but I think somebody higher up here is the one that should judge us.
You're opinioned. You have strong opinion.
Very opinioned.
Right.
But I don't know if that opinion... Yeah, I have opinion. My son, 17 years old, recently said, "Dad, you're this old school dinosaur." You were raised by your grandparents and you still believe in this world that is becoming authentic and for real. But newsflash, Dad, you're the dinosaur. Donald Trump is the president of the US. We have influencers. There is fake news. Maybe this is the new world. I don't want to believe it, but he could be right.
But I'm listening to you, and I know you've said that, but the dinosaurs today are actually crocodiles and little reptiles. So they transformed into something that's going to survive. They might be small, but there are many of them. And if they unite, they would do many powerful things. So that's maybe why you made the comunidad.
But
that's why you believe in communities.
Yeah, I believe in long term. I believe that in the long term power of purpose, that people are really rooted. Because I see a lot of bloggers and influencers that are already at home with the burnout. Because if they don't have enough likes, they will probably leave it, and it's not really rooted. If you have a cause and I think that the new entrepreneurs, the people that are leading the new world, even changing all our political, financial and economical and educational systems, are the top entrepreneurs, the Bill Gates, the Elon Musks, the people with the radical vision, the power to execute, and only one thing, people, planet, profit. I really believe that Elon Musk is here, that he really wants to change the course of the world. He was the first one that ever started to talk about universal basic income, UBI. I never heard it in politics before. He says that poverty should be gone within 5 years. And he said, together we can make that happen. So I believe in your foundation, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. These are top serial entrepreneurs and people with a heart, a soul, and a purpose. And my role in that is that I want to activate and inspire as many crocodiles as we can to take back the world and a world that is a more beautiful and better place.
And where can people find you? Where can they connect with you?
Well, I wouldn't suggest that they connect with me. no. Maybe if
using the digital terms, like what are the social media channels you use, your website?
Oh, I hate social media.
Where are you doing speech?
Yeah.
How can you hate it? It's your job.
No, it's not. No, my job is to tell stories. And I don't care about the channels. And no, I love social media, of course, in a way. But it's because of what we see around us. Sometimes it makes me even noisy. My website, IGORBEUKER.com. I have a pretty okay Twitter following. So, yeah. But I also have the power to be disliked. I think that's more. I dare to say it how it is. I am an independent. I will never win a popularity contest, probably. But I don't give a shit. So.
What did Jeff Bezos said about your tactics?
Well, but I think he's the most brilliant entrepreneur on this planet. And maybe injustice, what I got from my grandparents. Financial analysts and journalists have been bashing Jeff Bezos in the media for 20 years. Really offensive. He's an idiot. The company is not profitable enough. Jeff Bezos is a radical visionary. He's the smartest man on the whole planet. And he's kicking ass in almost every industry. And yeah.
What did you learn from him?
Well, persistence. The most beautiful quote I've ever heard from him, and that's really also my backbone, I think. Oftentimes, invention requires a long-term willingness to be misunderstood. My story is about the impact of the fourth industrial revolution. Until I sold my first businesses, you know what people said? He's a radical vision, he's an idiot. So the line between having a vision and being a complete and utter idiot is really, really thin. And
you gotta dare to go that line.
Dare to be different. That's why I love to your conference. And that's why I think that a lot of people listening believe in yourself. They will call you all kind of names. People will try to slow you down and stop you down. Always think about Jeff Bezos. Long-term willingness to be misunderstood.
And if there is one thing that you want to be remembered for, what would that be?
Well, I have my reviews, and in that way I care for social media. How other people view my vision is that we really should start be Stop pointing at politics and stop pointing at everyone else. We have social media, and instead of trending Justin Bieber and Kim Kardashian, we should use it as a collaborative ecosystem and make this world a better place. Crowdfunding, help each other build communities, really do it, change the world.
And what is the best campaign lately that you have witnessed?
Yeah, it's a controversial one, of course, but I'm a rebel. I really wrote a lot about the Nike Kaepernick campaign, and a lot of people were judgmental, and they said boycott Nike, and Nike threw a boomerang, and Nike this and Nike that. I think Nike is a brand with a heart and a soul, that they really stand for something. And the gesture they made, maybe, they give them an all-time high. The Nike stock is the highest in the last 53 years. So I believe in brands that really want to do good, change the world, make it cleaner, make it a better place. I think that a lot of brands that really stand for something, people, planet, profit, not only profit, that they're going to be big, really big.
Do you want to name a few that?
Yeah, I think there is a lot of ones. I think that for me, very important, that Tesla, Elon Musk, it changed the whole industry. A very old, traditional car industry that said, no, it will last for 20, 30 more years. I think Elon Musk and Tesla gave us all the idea that a new brand that hardly existed, and nobody knew it. It's impossible in branding and marketing what he achieved. In hardly 10 years' time, he changed the opinion of the world. He shook up the car market and the car industry.
Do you know that my dog is named Tesla?
No. Well, from Nikola Tesla from the airport?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's the son of ours.
Oh, that's smart. Is he a clever dog?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Very clever,
nice.
And crazy like electricity.
Yeah. Nice.
Yes. Well, thank you very much for today's conversation. I wish I had more time with you, but they are waving at me.
Oh, they are?
Yes.
Oh.
So thank you.
Yeah,
I really
pleasure
enjoyed
to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation. I really enjoyed this trip.
Thank you. And please do look for Igor and listen to his bold talk.
Thank you.